And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At the Track Live. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics? Glad you asked, even if you didn't ask. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about physics, about aerodynamics, about the scientific method, about drag, about lift, about kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, about force, about a whole range of science and physics related topics. And then, after I've taught them the science and we've conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student selects a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned about aerodynamics and physics and all of the science components of the program. After they pick their car, they examine their car, they take pictures of their cars, they document information about their cars, enter it into a spreadsheet, the weight, they test the speed, the year it was manufactured, everything that they can observe about the car, they document. And then after all the documentation is done, after all the science learning is done, then we take the cars to the track and we have a tournament and they race the cars on a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip, and they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And then, based on those results, they have to answer the question. If they had the opportunity, would they select that same car, or would they make a different choice based on what they observed in terms of how their cars performed? So it is a great program for kindergarten through 6th grade students. And if you'd like to learn more about the program, you can go to our website, aaerodynamics.com, and all of the information is there. Or you can follow us on Instagram, and all of the information and links are in the bio. And you can reach out to me if you have any additional questions and want to find out how to bring our science program to your school or your organization or your special event. And I've mentioned before that I am in the process of making some adjustments to the online version of All About Aerodynamics. So now, if you're not in the Southern California area, your students will have the opportunity to participate in the online version of All About Aerodynamics. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is At the Track Live. So what is At the Track Live? Well, before I can take all of those cars into the schools for the students to use, I have to make sure that I've cataloged the cars. I know which cars I'm taking in, so I know which cars I'm bringing back. And in order to do that, I have my own spreadsheet that has information about the cars. And because, as I mentioned, there's an online version, I have to take pictures and videos so that the students who participate in the online version can have a chance to look at the cars and examine the cars and make their selections. And like most Hot Wheels collectors and enthusiasts, I pick up more Hot Wheels cars than I have really space for. But I pick up Hot Wheels cars every time I go to the store and wander down the Hot Wheels aisle and see something that catches my eye. And I buy those cars, bring them back. They end up in storage because I can't use them in the program until I've cataloged them. And cataloging them before At the Track Live was a boring process. I would just grab a bunch of cars, sit down, crack them open, take the pictures, shoot the video, what have you. But with At the Track Live, each week I go into the storage, I pull out about 6 cars and bring those in. take a look at those, shoot the video, take the pictures, enter the information into the spreadsheet, and then after I've done all that, we've taken a look at the cars, take them out to the track. The track's set up, track's ready to go. Why not use it? So we do use it at the Track Live. Have a little mini tournament, see which car is the fastest, and whichever car wins the tournament that day gets the honor of being that day's champion, but it also has the opportunity to face our fastest in fleet car. And our current fastest in fleet car, if you've been watching, if you've been paying attention, if you've been following us on Instagram, you've seen the promotions, you know the car. If you've watched the last 9 weeks, you know the car that I'm talking about. The car that is our fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the Blitz Speeder. And the Blitz Speeder, I'm going to just say, I made the announcement on Instagram and a little promo that we did, that I just proclaimed, after last week, I proclaimed the Blitz Speeder to be the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet. The same way that Mike Tyson was the baddest man on the planet and Ronda Rousey was the baddest woman on the planet, the Blitz Speeder is the baddest Hot Wheels car, the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, until we can find another car to beat it. And that's going to be tough because last week, Rough Shot, hey, what's up, Rough Shot? Rough Shot had been making selections of different cars, and in a couple of cases got to the point of challenging the Blitz Speeder. But then last week, he had decided, or actually it was 3 weeks ago, because then we missed the Labor Day weekend and then came back last week. He decided that he was going to go with our former fastest in fleet champion, the Draftnator. The Draftnator had been fastest in fleet car for about 6 weeks. It was the showdown of the century, and it was the Draftnator against the Blitz Speeder. The first race was close, but the Blitz Speeder took it. Second race was not close at all. The Blitz Speeder destroyed the Draftnator, and the Draftnator had previously been one of the greatest and best, fastest in fleet cars that we'd seen. And so I picked up, I've been picking up faster than ever wheeled cars, best for track cars. I've gone on some different Instagram accounts, YouTube accounts, trying to find a car that is faster, getting recommendations from people. I've gone on eBay, bought those cars, paid way too much for those, brought them in. They got smoked because the Blitz Speeder is just, you'll see, if you haven't been watching, you should have been watching, but I'm glad you're here now. The Blitz Speeder is just amazing out on the track. And we will see this week if we can find a car to, I'm not even, at this point, I'm not even looking for a car to beat the Blitz Speeder so much as I am just looking for a car to give it a good competitive race. Now, if a car beats the Blitz Speeder, I don't know what to think, but it is possible. And it's not just going to be the cars that I pick. I created At The Track Live so that you would have the opportunity to participate. So that's the live part. So if you go to AtTheTrack.live, and you'll have the three options. One is for the YouTube stream link, one is for the Twitch stream link, which you don't need because you're already here. The third option says choose a car. You select that, and you are taken to this page. And on this page, we have all of the cars in the fleet listed. I think at this point we are up to, because I just finished entering the ones from last week and last night, and we are up to 719 cars. You have 719 cars to choose from. And when I say you have cars to choose from, what I mean is you can pick a car, and when you pick that car, if you decide, hey, I think this 68 Chevy Nova is going to can beat the Blitz Speeder or beat some of the other cars that Coach James introduces, all you have to do is click on that car. You'll get a close-up view, be able to check it out. There's a mirror underneath so you can see if it's metal on metal, plastic on metal, metal on plastic. In this case, it looks like we have metal on metal. And if that's the car that you want to pick, all you have to do is take the number of the car, in this case 173, drop it into the chat. I'll pull the car, and then we will see if your car can beat the other cars that I introduce, and then have a shot at taking down the Blitz Speeder. So I see Roughshod is all ready with his pick to go. He has picked car number 151, the high-tech missile. So let's go and take a look at that one. 151, okay, here we go. So it's interesting because Roughshod has definitely been refining his picks based on everything he's observed with the races and the outcomes. And one of the things is that we've noticed that fantasy cars, for whatever reason, tend to do pretty well. And you know, they have weird lines and different aerodynamic profiles, so it's sometimes hard to tell why the fantasy cars are doing better than the cars based on the actual cars. But we have noticed that fantasy cars do well. Also, cars with a flatter back end. And I see that this high-tech missile, the back end, excuse me, is flat. Because our launching block is a block. It's a square. And the cars press up against it and then get pushed out onto the track. And cars with more surface area touching the launching block get better launches. And that's always very important. Also, you want a car that's a little wider. You don't want a car that's too narrow, because then it has a tendency to possibly bounce back and forth on the track. If it doesn't get a solid straight push, it will hit the right side of the track, scrape up against the right side, and then again, we see Isaac Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It hits the right side, bounces off the right side, goes to the left side. Hits the left side, bounces off, goes to the right. Left, right, left, right. And every time it hits one of those sides and starts bouncing back and forth, there's a little bit of friction, slows the car down a little bit. So if you can get a car that's wide and straight, then you're in good shape. Also notice that this is an X-Racer car. And the Blitz Speeder is an X-Racer. The Draftnator was an X-Racer. I don't remember if that Track Tune was also one, but that Track Tune had the faster than ever wheels. That was the car that beat the Draftnator, that was then beaten by the Blitz Speeder. So maybe there's something to it. And this is part of what I always try to convey to the students, is that yes, you want to win the races, but even if your car loses, how it performs, we're gathering data and information so that we can see trends. And if it turns out that this high-tech missile car is fast, if it beats the Blitz Speeder, if it beats the other cars, if it's particularly fast, then we're starting to see some data and trends that say maybe there's something about the X-Racer cars. Maybe it's the weight, maybe it's the design. What is it? And so then you can kind of look more into that. So this is Roughshod's pick, so I will be pulling that car later, and we'll introduce it in with the others. But there are, like I said, there are 719 cars, and as you can see, there are fantasy cars, there are trucks, there are character cars, there are cars based on actual cars, there are Batmobiles, all scattered all throughout. We've got lowriders. We've got this one on the this Olds with the huge wheels. Is not, it's interesting. It's an interesting looking car, but it is not fast on our track. But you know, we've got everything. This alligator car, crocodile car, the Croc Rod. There are just every range of cars. We've got these old cars that I had when I was a kid. This one, the iced tea, which is clearly missing parts because I used to play with it, and you can see the paint scuffs and damage and marks. No one has ever picked this car with good reason. It's metal on metal. It's heavy. And the axles are probably straight, but the wheels probably don't spin as good as they used to back in the 80s when I was playing with this thing on the playground. But there are every type of car. Faster than ever wheels car, best for track, whatever kind of car that you are into, that you think would be fastest. Here's another Batmobile. There is this one. This is another one that I had when I was a kid. And this one on the back, I believe when you look inside the back, there's like a little go-kart or a motorcycle. There's some kind of vehicle in the back. You can't take it out. You can just see it through the back. And so this one's called the Inside Story, and inside there's something to look at. I have some gimmick cars that had where you impact either the side panel, the front or the rear, and a piece of the car, it flips around and looks like there's the car's been in an accident. Those cars are heavy. They're cool, but they're heavy and slow on the track. Lots of Lamborghinis, if that's your thing. Roger Dodgers in here. This is another one that I had when I was a kid. The other one that I have is beat up. So somehow I ended up with two. I kept this one in good condition, and the other one is kind of a mess. But all you have to do, go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, find the car that you want to race, take the number, drop it in the chat. I will pull that car, and we will see if it measures up against the cars that I introduced today. So we know that we have the Blitz Speeder. We know that the Blitz Speeder is, as of right now, the fastest car on the planet, and we are going to see which cars can challenge that one. And the first car that I am going to introduce today, I found it. I just picked this up last night, and I like the car. I really like the car, but I'm concerned, and I'll explain my concern pretty soon. But this you might not be able to see. It might not show up initially because it's a green car on a, and I've got the green screen, so it might not show up. And it kind of does. This is the 67 Lotus Type 49. And you can see here, the reason I'm concerned about it is because it is an open wheel car. And open wheel cars have been traditionally getting destroyed on our track. They crash, and because there's nothing to protect the wheels smash into the barriers on the track, and the axles get bent, and then the cars cannot be used. And there have been more than a few cars that our track has claimed their axles, and I hope that this car is not one of them, but I'm going to crack it open. I figured, and part of the thing is, usually I would wait. Like if I get a new car, I try to put it in storage and then pull out some of the older cars. So I'm like, I want to, I guess, kind of refreshing the picks, or I'm not just taking I want to get to those older cars and then work my way up to the newer cars. But I just bought this yesterday, and the reason I want to race this today is because if it does get busted up and the axle gets bent, I can buy another one just to have, and it won't cost me more because these are just out in the stores, new for 2024. So I can get a replacement. Whereas if I put it in storage and didn't bring it back out for a couple of months, even longer, possibly a year. Then, if I needed to buy a replacement, it would cost me a little bit more. So, all right, let me crack this open. We can take a closer look at the 67 Lotus Type 49. Oh, this one has information on the back about the car. Born 1967 in Hethel, England. Powered by the Ford Cosworth DFV V8 engine and driven by two legendary drivers, the monocoque design Lotus 49 set new heights of performance as it raced to Grand Prix victories, and thus the legend was born. Okay, so this is clearly a car based on an actual car that has a, I guess, a kind of legendary in the racing world history. And I'm going to just check the weight of this car. It is 30.3 grams. And just to have some comparison, we'll see. The Blitz Speeder is 32.4 grams. So they're pretty close in weight. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one right here. And as it comes around, I'll just go ahead and shoot the video first. Let's get it lined up. All right. And also, I hopefully solved the problem with the camera overheating, which has happened. I removed everything from the camera, restored it, and hopefully that's all it will take. But let's see here. So this Lotus, if you look at the back, you've got these two tailpipes sticking out, and those are going to be the only points of contact. It's a narrow car, open wheel, and I'm worried about those axles, but no risk, no reward. So we'll find out if the Lotus Type 49 can make it down the track. And I mean, it's a cool looking car. I like the wheels, different wheel design than typically see. Not there. I do have a few cars with the same wheel design, but for the most part, this is pretty, I want to say pretty rare for the cars that, at least the cars that I have. So this is a good looking car. And I'm really hoping that it can stay on the track, stay out of trouble. Alright, let's see. Let me get the still. Arrange it to get the still picture here. And zoom in a bit. Okay. And I guess it would help if I maybe right there. Looks good. All right. So we've got our first car, the Lotus Type 49. I wonder if there were types 41 through 48. I don't know, but I've heard what is it? WD-40. That the spray, the lubricant, that it's WD-40 because there were 39 other attempts at making that, and the 40th one was the one that worked. That might just be one of those rumors that floats around. There is no year listed on the bottom of this car, so I will have to look that one up. But we have our first competitor, the 67 Lotus Type 49. Now, I mentioned before that I do have a lot of Batmobiles, and I was cleaning up, trying to organize. It's always a constant process of trying to organize the Hot Wheels cars, get them shifted around and stored up. And I came across more Batmobiles. And so the thing that's the problem is that Hot Wheels tends to just label the Batmobiles as Batmobile. And it doesn't matter if it was from what movie it was from, what TV show it was from, it's just labeled Batmobile. What video game it was from, Batmobile. Sometimes they do identify the movie or the TV show or where it's from, but for the most part, they just say Batmobile. So when I go and look at the spreadsheet, I can see that we have Batmobiles, but I'm not always sure which Batmobile it is. So when I found these, I went through last night. I said, let me just go ahead and check. And currently, we have Batmobiles. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different Batmobiles. A couple of them maybe are definitely the same. 2 of them are the same. But I found some more Batmobiles. I don't think they're in the fleet, so we are going to have a bit of a Batmobile extravaganza today. So the first one is this Batmobile, which I don't know what movie it's from, what show. Maybe somebody watching knows and can let me know. But again, you can see it just says Batmobile. So I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out some way to kind of... oh, wait. Here we go. I didn't even look. Right here. Batman versus Superman. So apparently this is the Batmobile from the Batman versus Superman movie. Okay. So I will crack this open. We'll take a closer look and see what we got here. Alright, this one. Now, this one I like because it could have been an open wheel car, which I'll show you in just a second, but it's not. The weight is 26.7 grams, so definitely on the lighter side. Very much so on the lighter side. So I will show you here. Let's take a look. Get it positioned just right. Switch the view over to here. Turn that off. So you can see that it could have been an open wheel car, but it's not. It's got this right here. Just in front of the car. That is what I wish more of the open wheel car, and I understand they can't do it, especially if it's based on a real car, but all of the open wheel cars, if they just had this little metal piece right here in front of the wheel, wouldn't have a problem. So if this car crashes, this metal piece is going to take the brunt of the impact, and the axles will remain in place. So this one will definitely, regardless of what the outcome is, whether it crashes, whether it makes it down the track, this car will definitely survive to race another day, which is important. So, now, let me see. I think I'm going to slide a different background in there so there can be some contrast. Just get this in here. Because I especially want the students to be able to see the back of this Batmobile before they make their selection, because again, pressing up against the launching block is important, and cars that don't do it don't do well. So here we go. We got the picture. Nice. The Batman versus Superman Batmobile. So let me start up the turntable so we can take this video. And get this one entered. Yet another Batmobile, which I don't mind so much. Alright, get this Batmobile. And I will enter this into the spreadsheet. We've got car number 721. This is the Batmobile Superman versus Batman edition. And I didn't check the year. So with this car being really light, and only having those two tiny points of contact in the back, I'm not really confident that it's going to be able to stay straight on the track. This seems like a car that's going to bounce around a lot just because of the force that the launcher uses and the size of this car and the fact that it's only got those 2 points. Now, if it had a wide flat back like the high-tech missile car that Roughshod picked, or like the Blitz Speeder, then I would give this car a pretty good shot. But as it is right now, I don't think so. But that's why we have to race the cars, because you just never know. So we have the Batman versus Superman Batmobile. And we have the team, I keep calling it Team Lotus because it says Team Lotus on the side. But we have the Lotus Type 49. And we are looking good so far. And let's see, we've got the next car that will be introduced. Let's see, what are we going to go with? You know what we're going to go with? We're going to go with another Batmobile, because why not? Let me check the year on this Batman versus Superman Batmobile, and that is 2015. And I always add in the year just because it's just another data point that helps me locate the car. So our next Batmobile is going to be this one, the Batman Forever Batmobile. And I remember I picked this up at the Hot Wheels swap meet out here in Pasadena, which I think is going on now. I'm going to try and get there in 2 weeks when they have it on a Sunday. It's on the Saturday, and then 2 weeks later it's on a Sunday. And if you're in the Southern California area, it's in Pasadena at Arroyo Seco Park, I believe. And if you go to their Instagram account, Diecast Support, then you can see the schedule. And if you don't see it, send me a message and I'll double check the account name and get you the information, and maybe I'll see you out there. But yeah, I picked this one up out there, and this is the Batman Forever Batmobile. And it's got this factory sealed 2023 set, and I'm not sure exactly what that designation means, but I don't keep the cars in the package anyway, so it's going to come out. So I hope this isn't something super significant, because I'm going to open this thing up, and whatever value this adds to it will pretty much disappear. Let's see. There's some information on the back. The Batman Forever Batmobile. Created for the 1995 Batman Forever movie, this Batmobile features a jet exhaust, split cockpit canopy, and special V-shaped Batwing. Take it for a spin while fighting Gotham City's toughest villains. Okay. Now this one, when we talk about points of contact, open this up. When we talk about points of contact, this one has a lot. Let's see. So it weighs in at 30 grams right on the nose, which is pretty interesting for such a big car. But it is it is definitely going to be, this comes around, let's take a look. That back end is going to be interesting because it is going to mean for this car that that top fin is probably going to mean I'm going to have to put on the taller acrylic cover. And if you've watched before, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, the cars launch out with so much force. Hang on, let me see. Let me get this in here. Batmobile. Batman Forever. So the cars launch out with so much force that sometimes they fly up into the air. And in order to get them to get back onto the track, I built an acrylic cover so that when the cars start to launch up into the air, they hit the acrylic cover and go right back down onto the track and continue on. But some cars are taller. So trucks, cars like this, because of that tall wing. So I had to build a tall acrylic cover. The problem is so that accommodates the taller cars. But the problem is when a taller car races a standard car, and I put in the bigger acrylic cover, it's fine for the taller car or the truck, or in this case, this Batmobile. So when that one flies up, it'll hit the top and come back down. But for the smaller car, the standard car, now instead of going up just a little bit and hitting the acrylic cover, coming back down on the track, that car's flying further up into the air, then hits the top, and then comes back down. And so it creates a situation where you give a disadvantage to the smaller car. But I've kind of figured a little workaround for that, so hopefully that won't be too much of an issue, and we'll be able to get it done. But let's just look at this, the back end. Well, I'll take the still picture, then we'll take a closer look at the at this back end, this wild back end on this Batmobile. Switch over to, zoom in a bit. And that looks good. And we will, let's see, get that picture. All right, now let's take a look at this back end and the points of contact. If we look at it this way, this top fin sticks out the most, and either this is going to just be touching the launching block, or it's going to be taller than the launching block, which I think if this is the only point on the car that's touching the launching block, I don't think this car is going to do well at all, because it's not going to get a good solid push. Now, if this top fin is above the launching block, then that means that now we may have 3 points of contact, maybe 4. So we've got one with this exhaust, then this little piece sticking out here. Oh, no, we've got another little point sticking out there, and that point is sticking out further than this one. So if in fact this top wing is taller than the launching block, then only this point and the exhaust are going to be touching the launching block, and that's going to give it the push. I still don't expect that to be enough to keep this car straight, but it's tough to say because it's such an odd shape, and so I don't want to say it's too narrow. I think it's got a good I think it's got good width. I just don't know about the launch that it's going to get. And the launch is where everything starts. You don't get a good launch, then you really don't have a shot to do well on the track. But we will see. We'll find out if this Batmobile, the Batman Forever Batmobile, can compete. So let's see, what year is on this? 2022. All right, so we've got the Batman Forever Batmobile, Superman versus Batman Batmobile. We've got the Lotus Type 49, and let's see, we have, you know what, I might as well go ahead and pull Roughshod's car, which was number 151, the high-tech missile. So I'm going to go and grab that car. Should just take me less than a minute. I will do that. And this is the good part about having all of the cars organized and cataloged, that I can just go grab the cars. And let's take a look at the high-tech missile. Well, first let me weigh it and see where it comes in terms of weight. So 30.3 grams, so it's right there with the Batmobile, and it weighs less than the Blitz Speeder, so that's already a bit of a plus there. Let's go ahead and crank up this turntable and take a look at the high-tech missile. That's the one. Get this off of here. The high-tech missile. So again, it is an X-Racer car. It is a metal-based plastic body, and that back end is flat. And I think this car is going to get a good solid push. It's light. It's I think everything is there. So this might be, I know I've said this before, but this car might be one to really give the Blitz Speeder and some of these other cars a challenge. And it's always hard with the fantasy cars, because there's so many different channels and openings and just things that you wouldn't see typically on other cars. And so you really don't know exactly how the wind and the air is going to flow, how the air is going to flow over, under, and around this car, and in some cases through, because as it comes around, you'll see that there's a channel right down here, and then there are openings here. And it reminds me that I need to check, because I ordered, it was a Kickstarter campaign, and these people, they designed a wind tunnel for Hot Wheels cars and slightly larger scale cars. And once I get that, I will be able to take these cars, put them in the wind tunnel, and the way it works is you can see the smoke, and you can see exactly how the air flows over, under, and around the cars, which is just a fantastic thing that I'm looking forward to trying out, and hoping that it works out the way that it's been demonstrated online. But especially with the fantasy cars, it'll be interesting to see exactly how the air flows over, under, and around these cars. So we've got the high-tech missile, and that is the fourth car that's been entered into today's competition. And Yeah, hey, Texas Gold. Yeah, it's on Kickstarter. I think it's called the. You can still um, buy one or check it out. It's Winsable, so WIND, and then I think it's ISBLE, Winsable. If you send me a message on Instagram, I'll give you the information if you want it. But it's interesting. So I'm waiting to see. Since it's a Kickstarter project, it's one of those things that if it happens, then it happens. But they seem to be pretty far along in the process, and before the end of the year, they're expected to be sending them out. So when I get it, I will do a review. I'll be showing it off. The one thing that I am concerned about is they've shown that it works, but they have some kind of special chemical, whatever, that they use that you add in to make the smoke. I'm kind of thinking it's going to end up being like when you buy a printer, and you can get the printer pretty cheap, but then they always have you coming back because you have to keep buying the ink. And whatever this fluid is that you have to put into the device to make it create the smoke is not something that they've acknowledged that you can just buy off the shelf. So if I have to keep buying it from them, I don't know. But once I get it, I think I need to get it. That's the first step, and then after I've gotten it, then we can see from there. So let's see. So we've got the Lotus, the 67 Lotus Type 49, which I just keep calling the Team Lotus because that's what's written on the car. We've got the Superman versus Batman Batmobile, the Batman Forever Batmobile, and we've got the high-tech missile that Roughshod picked. We have, you know what? Why not do it? Why not just keep the theme going? Another Batmobile. This one does not have any label or distinction about what movie or TV show or video game it's from. It just says, once again, just says Batmobile. There's no information on the back other than help Batman fight crime and protect Gotham City in these Batmobile-inspired vehicles. So now this is saying a Batmobile-inspired vehicle, but it's clearly a Batmobile. Either way, I don't know how I'm going to label this one, but let's crack it open, take a look, see what it's all about and how it stacks up against the others. I think I have, at this point now, with the addition of these, more Batmobiles than Lamborghinis. I think Lamborghinis were had the lead, but now there've got to be 13 or so Batmobiles. The 89 Batmobile movie? Okay, I'll have to check that out because they after a while they start to kind of blend together. Am I going to be on Discord? You know what? I'm on Discord for some other things that I follow, and I haven't looked into actually setting it up. But I'm thinking it's probably something that I'd like to get into. So this Batmobile weighs 37.9 grams. So this is clearly the heaviest car that we will be racing today, or at least to this point. But with the Discord, I think what I'm trying to do is kind of go in stages, and I want to start build up the YouTube channel, which is kind of a supplement to the All About Aerodynamics, the academic program, and then kind of branch out from there. But a Discord channel might actually help me achieve those goals. So it's just one of those things I have to kind of look more into. But definitely something that I've thought about, because there's all kinds of other things that I'm interested in that I do follow their Discord accounts and get a lot of good information there, and share ideas and get some tips and things to help improve the overall presentation. All right, so this Batmobile is it's got these almost like these angel wings on the back, but that nose in the front does kind of, I guess you said the 89 Batmobile, or 89 Batman movie. So many. And some of the Batman movies that weren't good, I don't even remember. All right, Texas Gold, thanks for checking in. So we've got this Batmobile, and it is the heaviest one that we've seen, but it's got the these two wings in the back. Now, we've had some other Batmobiles with two wings in the back, and this one, at least the wings they'll both be pressed up against the launching block, and it should be able to get a pretty good launch. Now, my concern is the weight of the car, but other than that, I think this one, of the Batmobiles, if I had to pick at this point, I would say that Batman versus Superman Batmobile, the one that's really light and small, will probably do the best, but there's no guarantee that one will be able to stay on the track. The Batman Forever Batmobile, I don't have any confidence in, because of the wings and just the two tiny points, and the fact that it's going to have to use the larger acrylic cover. So I don't see that being good for business, and I think that car is going to have a lot of trouble. This one, I don't know. I think the weight is going to end up being its biggest problem, but and I don't think it's going to beat that high-tech missile. And that other Lotus, jury's still out on that one, because I don't know if that one will stay on the track either, but we will see. So let's go here, get a picture, and boom. So now we've got this Batmobile, we've got the Batman Forever Batmobile, we've got the the Batman versus Superman Batmobile, and this one, while I was talking, I didn't put it in, so we'll call this the Batmobile. And until I can look up and confirm or find some other information, we'll just refer to this as Batmobile, and I'll put 89 with the Michael Keaton. Yeah, that paint is definitely different, and it's funny because I picked up another Batmobile, but I'm not going to enter this one because I already have one. But it's this one from Batman the Animated Series. And let me switch over to this other camera. Let's go here. It is this one. And I really liked this one because of it's black, but I like those yellow accents. The problem is that I already have one of these in the fleet, and I knew I had one in the fleet, and I knew that it was already there, but I liked this one and picked it up. But I can't have duplicates. I have some duplicates, but I don't want to have duplicates. So this one is just going to be one of those ones that I keep just for my personal enjoyment. The other reason I can't take it out is because the purple version of that, which I didn't pick, my mom picked. I was in Atlanta and going through Target, and then I wandered off and was looking at the Hot Wheels, and she came over and knew that I was picking cars to eventually race. So my mom, so she said she wanted to pick a car, so she picked a car, and then she wanted to pick one for my aunt, and she wanted to have those cars race. My aunt's favorite color is purple, so my mom picked the first purple car she saw, and it happened to be that Batman, the animated series Batmobile, and so that's why there's a purple version in the fleet. I would love to swap it out for this one, but I don't want to cause any problems, so this one will just be set aside. But we've got plenty of Batmobiles. Let me check the year on this other one. 2004. So we've got that. 2004. And now how many, let me double check how many cars we've got. We've got, let's see, we've got the Lotus, 3 Batmobiles, and the high-tech missile. So that means we've got space for one more car. And this one's a weird pick, but I wanted to, I don't know, just test it out because it's weird, it's strange. And this is called the Speed Bump, and what it is I believe it goes with the monster truck sets, and it is a car that has clearly been crushed by a monster truck tire. So you'll see once I put it on the turntable that it's the roof and the top is all smashed down and the hood is kind of caved in, and it looks like it's been in a wreck, like it's been run over by a monster truck. But because of that, the profile is very slow and sleek for this car, and I'm like, well, let's see how it does on the track. So let me crack this open, the Speed Bump, and see what we've got. All right, the Speed Bump. Oh man, this car. It just it has a very, I don't want to say a cheap feel. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. I'll have to think of something, but it's coming in at 31.4 grams, and let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. It's very, very interesting. And we talk about the lines on the different fantasy cars. Here's one. So you can see that it is essentially the door is smashed in, everything is caved in, and it has been run over by a monster truck, and everything's low and sleek, and there's this there's no windshield. So air is going to come up, it's going to flow into this cabin area, but I don't see necessarily where it flows out. So that's not necessarily a good thing. You want the air to be able to pass. If it's going to go in, you want it to pass through and out, but that is not the case with this car. Let's get the picture. Still picture here. Got it. And take the video, and then we will have all of the cars we need to be able to head to the track and see if one of these cars is going to be able to challenge the Blitz Speeder for track supremacy to become our fastest in fleet car. So let me put this car in here. This is car number 724. This is the Speed Bump. And we will see if the Speed Bump has the speed necessary to take out some of these other cars. So it comes around, you can just see it's a cool little concept. just something different. And who knows? Sometimes the cars that are the most different have the best outcomes on the track. It's hard to say, but this one is, I don't know, not that I'm not expecting a lot, but I think just based on the cars we've seen so far, I would say, if I had to guess, I have a feeling that high-tech missile, just because of the profile, because of the weight, because of what we've seen from the other X-Racers cars, I think that car has a great chance. The Batman versus Superman Batmobile, I think that has a shot to do well. I don't know about that Lotus, because I'm just not sure that it's going to even be able to stay on the track. But that's why we take the cars to the track. That's why we race the cars. And when we race the cars, this is what you will be seeing. You will see a 3-camera view, and the cars will start at the top of the screen on the left at our start line. Up at the top of the screen, I will give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I will hit the switch. The cars will come firing out of the launcher. They will come from top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left, and you can pick them up at the top of the screen in the middle. The cars will come from top to bottom, passing through the middle section of our track, and then you can pick them up on the far right camera at the top. They will come from top to bottom, where they will cross the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. And the losing car will be indicated by a flashing red light. Get this. Hang on. And our races are best 2 out of 3. The cars switch lanes after each race, and if a car crashes and comes off of the track, then the race restarts. If a car crashes but doesn't come off the track, the results of that race count. If a car crashes twice consecutively, then that car is eliminated, because if a car crashes twice consecutively on our track, there's some reason why that's happening, and it's not going to be resolved by just restarting the race. So if a car crashes, comes off the track, we restart the race, run it back, and best 2 out of 3, that car moves on, and we'll keep going until we have our winner for today. And then after we have that, we will see which car will challenge the Blitz Speeder for the fastest in fleet title. So that is what we have. We are just moments away from hitting the track. I am going to gather up these cars, and I will see you out at the track in about 30 seconds. Okay, I am just going to double check the audio, make sure everything's good. 1 2 1 2. Yep, audio's good, cars are ready, track is ready, I'm ready. Here we go. We are going to start off. We're going to go with the 2, even though the other one's not open wheel. We're going to go with the Lotus and the Batman versus Superman Batmobile, and we will see which of these cars is going to move on. So let's get everything lined up here. Batman versus Superman Batmobile is going to be in lane 1. And alright, that one's ready to go. The Lotus, which I am hoping it can stay on the track. I am hoping the axles don't get smashed, but we'll see. The Lotus is in lane 2. So, Batmobile lane 1, Lotus lane 2, first race of the day. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Woo! Okay, the Lotus stayed on the track. The Lotus took the race. Those were two cars, two very fast cars, at least from the looks of it. Let me grab the Lotus. It plowed into and underneath our finish line barricade here. And we will switch lanes and see if Batman versus oh, let me grab it. If the Batmobile can pull it out. Okay, now we're switching the Lotus is going to be in lane 1, which, if I recall, lane 1 has been a little notorious for taking out the open wheel cars, but let's hope that doesn't happen today. So the Batmobile will be in lane number 2, and the Lotus is in lane 1. So here we go. Race number 2. Lotus is up 1 race to nothing. Lotus lane 1, Batmobile lane 2. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. Ooh. Okay. Batmobile takes it in another close race. So now we are going to race number 3, third and decisive race. I am still very happy that the Lotus stayed on the track. I like the speed of the Lotus, like the speed of this Batmobile as well. So these are two solid cars, regardless of which car comes out on top. It's always good to know that there are just other options in the fleet that are good, solid, quick cars. But only one can move on. And therefore, we are about to find out. We've got the Lotus lined up in lane number 2. Batman versus Superman Batmobile in lane number 1. This is the third and final race to see which of these cars moves on. So Lotus lane 2, Batmobile lane 1. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. Woo! The Batmobile by a wide margin. So those races had been pretty close to that point, but the Batmobile dug a little deeper that time and finished off the Lotus. But I'm very happy with this Lotus and its performance. But that Batmobile, that's a pretty quick car. I might have, there might be something for the Blitz Speeder to worry about. Bats. Yeah, exactly. So next up, let's go with the high-tech missile against the speed bump. So we are going to see right now how Roughshod's pick, his latest pick. It is an X-Racer's car, just like the Blitz Speeder, just like the Draftnator. It has flat back end. Oh, but what I'm noticing is, so the high-tech missile, it's got a flat back end, but then it's got this little round piece at the bottom, almost like where the exhaust would be, that sticks out just a little bit beyond the wing. And so that is actually the part that is touching the launching block, not the wing. And there's no way that anyone could have seen that, because that's one of the sort of downsides of only using the still pictures to select a car. But we will see what the performance is like. The speed bump is the car that's has been smashed by a monster truck tire, and has no windshield, so the air should gather in the cabin, and there's nowhere for it to go, so it should slow this car down. But we will see. We've got the high-tech missile in lane 1. We've got the speed bump in lane 2. Here's race 1. Let's go. Three, two, one, race. Oh! The speed bump flew down the track. It beat out the high-tech missile in that race. That is just one, but that's surprising because, and again, it just goes to show that you can have a theory, and I had a hypothesis and a theory all worked out about why the speed bump was going to be particularly slow, and then we put it on the track and actually put it to the test, and it won. It was very quick in that race. So let's line these cars up again. This time the high-tech missile is in lane 2, the speed bump is in lane 1, and this is race number 2. Let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. By what, from my vantage point, looked to be just like a nose, just not even a full car length, the speed bump. The speed bump took that race, so the speed bump moves on, and that is one where I'm going to have to go back and check the video, because from my position at the starting line, I could tell that the race was close, but how close, it was hard to tell. But the finish line indicator lights let me know that the speed bump took it. So now we have the speed bump and the Batman versus Superman Batmobile moving on. So our next race up will be the Batman Forever Batmobile against this, what we're calling the 89 Batmobile. So first, let me see. Okay, so the Batman Forever Batmobile is too tall, so I will have to use the taller acrylic cover, and we will see how that impacts the other car. So we'll go Batman Forever in lane 1, and as I thought, and as we kind of discussed, the only part of this Batmobile that is touching, well, so the taller wing on that Batman Forever Batmobile is above the launching block, and therefore it is only the exhaust and one little point on the back of the car that are touching the launching block. For the 89 Batmobile, it is just the two tips of the wings on the back that are touching the launching block, so not much contact with the launching block. That usually means we're going to see a crash, but I don't know. Here we go. This is race number 1, Batman Forever Batmobile versus the 89 Batmobile. Here we go. Race number 1. Three, two, one, race. And the 89 Batmobile took that one. And we will switch lanes. Both of those cars, I could tell just from the just watching the race, and you could just tell that they are both slower than the cars that we've seen, slower than the Lotus, slower than the high-tech missile, slower than the speed bump, just slow. Those were slow passes that time, but it was just one. So we're going to switch lanes, and this time the Batman Forever Batmobile will be in lane number 2, and we will put the 89 Batmobile in lane number 1. They are set up, they are ready to go, and let's see what happens. Race number 2. Three, two, one, race. Batman Forever takes that one. So we will see what is going on there. Let's see. So we got Batman Forever with a victory. We've got 89 Batman with a victory. We're going to switch sides of the track and see which one is going to move on to take on the speed bump and the other Batmobile. So let's get these flipped around again and see. Again, it's interesting because both of these cars are clearly slow, but when you get two slow cars, that just means they're evenly matched and you get some pretty good races. So as long as the cars are evenly matched, we can get a good race. And this is going down to the third and final race with the Batman Forever Batmobile in lane 1 and the 89 Batmobile in lane 2. Race number 3. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Batman Forever Batmobile takes it, which means I will have to continue with this taller acrylic cover, but that's okay. Whatever the situation calls for. So let me grab this the Batman Forever Batmobile, and there's one quick thing that an adjustment I need to make so that I can see one of my screens drop down. Okay. Just a little technical hiccup that I believe is straightened out now. Yep. Okay. So we have the Batman Forever Batmobile, and we have the we'll go Batman Forever versus Speed Bump. Why not? See what kind of matchup what kind of race we can get out of these two cars. So I will go Batman Forever Batmobile will be in lane number 1, and the Speed Bump will be in lane number 2. All right. Okay, so Speed Bump, lane 2, Batmobile, Batman Forever Batmobile in lane 1. Here we go, race 1. Three, 2, 1, race. Woo. Okay, this speed bump may be a problem because it is fast. And I will say that in that last race, I was saying that the Batmobiles, both of them, the 89 and the Batman Forever, were slow. But I can tell that the speed bump is fast. And this Batmobile, even though it lost, it wasn't an embarrassing loss, and it's pretty fast too. So we have two cars that are pretty quick, but this speed bump, I don't know. I've got my eye on it. This may be the car. That would be pretty wild if the speed bump was the car that took out the Blitz Speeder, but we're not there yet. We're not even close to being there yet. But the Batman Forever car, Batmobile, is in lane 2 this time, and the speed bump is in lane 1. This is race number 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Speed bump takes it, and that means that our finals matchup is going to be the Batman versus Superman Batmobile versus the speed bump. And the speed bump, which I almost laughed at coming onto the track. It just goes to show you just never know. So now we will see which of these two cars is going to be the one to take on the Blitz Speeder. So we will go with the Batman versus Superman Batmobile in lane number 1, and speed bump in lane number 2. This is race number 1. Here we go, our finals. Three, two, one, race. Speed bump takes it. So the speed bump takes that race, and now it is one win away from becoming today's champion. It's also one win away from facing the Blitz Speeder for fastest in-fleet supremacy. So we will see. We are putting the speed bump in lane number 1. Superman versus Batman Batmobile in lane number 2. And we are ready to go. This is race number 2. Here we go. Speed bump lane 1. Superman versus Batman Batmobile lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Superman versus Batman. Batmobile takes it. Speed bump. It was another close race, but we saw the outcome, and we see that the matchup is going to come down to a third and final race, which is how I like it. Each car showing what it can do. And now we will switch sides and see which car is going to be today's champion. which car will be taking on the Blitz Speeder. And let's see. So the speed bump is in lane number 2. And the Superman versus Batman Batmobile is in lane number 1. We are ready. This is race number 3 to find today's champion. Here we go. Speed bump lane 2. Batman versus Superman Batmobile lane 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Batman versus Superman Batmobile takes it. It was close. They knocked down the finish line block. So let me get that back into position. We've got our cars. Let's see here. Eventually they just took it out. They just knocked it right down. Get this up here, put a little more weight on top, and we are ready to go. Is it going to take a superhero to take out our champ? The Blitz Speeder, is that what it's going to take? At this point, it looks like that answer is yes. So we will see. The Blitz Speeder has not really been challenged all that much, but we will see if this is the car to do it. All right. Let's go ahead here, take a look. We have, this is definitely a sleeper car. The speed bump was a sleeper, but now we're going Batman, Superman, Batmobile versus the Blitz Speeder. Can the Blitz Speeder just remain dominant, or is this it? After I proclaim the Blitz Speeder to be the fastest car on the planet, does it go down? Did I jinx it like in a football game when the announcers say this kicker hasn't missed from this distance all year, and then he misses it? Or in a basketball game when the announcer says he hasn't missed a free throw all season, and then he misses? Did I jinx the Blitz Speeder? I don't know. We've got the Blitz Speeder in lane 1, Batman versus Superman Batmobile in lane 2, race 1 for the fastest in fleet title. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. The Blitz Speeder said, please. That was the Blitz Speeder taking out the Batmobile in the first race, but as we know, it's not just a one and done. You have to win 2 races, the best 2 out of 3. Can the Batman versus Superman Batmobile come back and win 2 races in a row? It is not unprecedented. We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen many times. The car loses the first race, comes back, wins the next 2. That is not unbelievable. It's not unknown. We know it can happen, but can it happen here? Can it happen with the Blitz Speeder, the fastest car on the planet, as proclaimed by me a week ago? We've got the Blitz Speeder in lane 2. We've got the Batman versus Superman Batmobile in lane 1. The Blitz Speeder is up, 1 race to none. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Whoa. And the Blitz Speeder smashes into the barrier coming out of the gate and flies off the track. So we will reset and restart that race. Batman versus Superman Batmobile just got a free pass on the track. A little warm-up, tune-up lap, if you will. Get these cars reset and ready to go for this second race. And I can already tell you right now that if the Blitz Speeder happens to crash a second time, there is no way that the Blitz Speeder is going to be losing its title on a technicality. So that the race will be run again. If the Blitz Speeder crashes, it's not going to be it's like wrestling. You're not going to lose the title on a count out. You have to be beaten on the track in order to lose. So I mean, when you're the Blitz Speeder. So here we go. Okay, we've got them lined up once again. We've got the Blitz Speeder in lane 2. We've got the Batman versus Superman Batmobile in lane 1. Blitz Speeder is up 1 race to nothing. This is for the fastest in-fleet title. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. The Blitz Speeder is like, call me when you've got somebody who can challenge me. The Blitz Speeder takes it. I'm going to grab this Batmobile and head back into the garage, and we will take a look at the winner, take a look at some of the challengers. I'll show you some of the things that I noticed on the track that I didn't observe beforehand, and we'll see what's next. So I'll be back in the garage in about 30 seconds. So I proclaimed it earlier this week, the fastest car on the planet, and it did not disappoint. It lived up to all of the hype. That car is the Blitz Speeder. The Blitz Speeder is so fast. It's just, I don't know. I've seen, again, we've only had one car that has even taken one race from the Blitz Speeder. That's it. One car has taken one race from the Blitz Speeder. The Blitz Speeder has been our champion. This is week number 10 that the Blitz Speeder has been our all about aerodynamics at the track live champion. And the only car that has taken a race from the Blitz Speeder was the Slide Kick, I think it's called. And then it took race number 1, and that was a wake-up call. And then the Blitz Speeder came back and just destroyed. Well, no, I'll take that back because the races were close, but the Blitz Speeder still won. Other than that, that one loss, the Blitz Speeder has not lost a race. It has not really even come close to losing a race in the last 10 weeks. And I thought we almost had we had to pull out superhero cars and see if they could get the job done. They could not. We had Batman trios match of Batmobiles versus trying to take out the Blitz Speeder. They could not get it done. The Blitz Speeder is the car that it remains our fastest in fleet champion. And now I've seen on some other channels, and it's usually with gravity tracks because that's predominantly what's out there, that people get a champion and then a car that's dominant, and then they kind of retire it, and then that car ends up being the just sort of legendary retired Hall of Fame car. That's not going to happen. The Blitz Speeder is going to stay our fastest in fleet champion until it's beaten. And until it's beaten, it will remain. So however long this run is however long it's going to be. I am going to be digging through and checking through all of the cars that I have and pulling out more cars, introducing more cars. But of course, you always have the option to go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and go to this page and scroll through. And as I mentioned last week, that when we started AtTheTrack.live, we started with car number 450. So that means that all of the cars from 450 through 724 have raced on the track. And if they were going to be faster than the Blitz Speeder, they would be the champion. And that is, that's just how it is. So if there is a car in this group that is faster than the Blitz Speeder, it's going to be one of the cars from number 1 through 449, because other than that, all these cars have already raced. So, but this group from 1 to 449 have not already raced, and therefore, if there's going to be a car in here, a sleeper car, if you will, then it's going to come from that group. And we'll see. But you're welcome to go through, scroll through, look through. There's all kinds of cars, and all you have to do is find the car you want. If you think it's this Lotus Esprit, you click on it, you can take a look, check it out. If that's the car you want, then all you have to do is take that number, drop it in the chat. Once you do, I will pull that car, take it to the track, just like today, just like Roughshod's high-tech missile, and we will race it and see if it can beat out the other cars and ultimately challenge the Blitz Speeder. Now, as for the car that Roughshod picked, let's take a look. So see, this is what I noticed. Right, I didn't see this until I actually got on the track, but there's this little bump right here in the back, right there. And that sticks out just a little bit further than the wing. And there's no way that you could have known that before you made your pick. But if I can get the angle right, you can see that right there. Let me zoom in. It sticks out just a little bit. That little bit. And so when the car launched, that was the only part, that little silver part right there was the only part that was touching the launching block. And so I think that how much of a role that played, I don't know, but I do know that what I thought was going to happen, and clearly like what you thought based on the picture, because we couldn't see this, was that this whole flat edge was going to be pressed up against the block. If that had been the case, I think that we might have seen a better performance, because the launch is everything. The launch is key. Are you getting a good, solid, straight push? And then after that, because the launch kind of dictates whether or not the car is going to stay straight on the track or whether it's going to bounce to the sides or do something strange. And in this case, I didn't see anything particularly weird with the high-tech missile going down the track. And the fact is that it raced the speed bump, and it turns out that the speed bump was, like you said, a sleeper car that who knew it was going to be fast. So it may or may not have made a difference, but ultimately, I think that that's one of those kind of hidden things. And it's also the reason why I take the 360-degree video so that the students can see all around the car, and maybe they pick up on something like this that could possibly cause the car to get a launch other than the one that they expected. But it was still a good day of races. I was really impressed with that Lotus, that it stayed on the track. No issues with it flying off and getting the axle bent. Although, since it's a new car, I think usually I don't do this, but I think I will buy a couple more. I'm sure I'll see it because this was the first time I'd seen it last night. I'll buy a couple more just as a backup because I like that car. And if in fact the axle does get busted up, then I want to make sure that I do have a backup car. But we are here at the Track Live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And if you want to follow some other things that are happening, definitely a lot going on. Just go to follow us on Instagram, AA Aerodynamics, and there you will see different updates. As I mentioned, I'm working on doing some things live exclusively on Instagram, but I have to adjust the camera angles and make it for a vertical format. Just a lot of things going on. The online version of All About Aerodynamics, just about ready to relaunch that. So that's something coming up, and just all kinds of different things. So follow us on Instagram, AA Aerodynamics. If you want more information, there's links in the bio. You can send me a message, or you can just go to our website, AAAerodynamics.com, and you can learn all about the science program and how to bring it to your school or your organization or your special event. We have different versions of the program that can be adapted to however many students you have or whatever time constraints there are. So it is a great program, if I do say so myself, where the students have fun with Hot Wheels and learn science, physics, and aerodynamics. So check it out. And I will be here next Saturday with 6 new cars and whatever cars that you may pick to race at the Track Live. Racing Hot Wheels cars, what could be better? I started the day, I was on the phone with customer service for the trash company because they missed the pickup day and we're going back and forth, and that's not the way you want to start off your day. But as soon as I hung up with them and knew that I was coming to race Hot Wheels cars, everything turned around. So we have more great races. We have the fastest car on the planet. It's the Ronda Rousey. It's the Mike Tyson of Hot Wheels racing, the fastest car on the planet. And until next week, roughshod, see you. Everyone else, see you next time at the races.